Hey everybody, welcome to the Pensky File. We're here with a new sort of situation. Going to do a podcast, I guess, which won't be about gaming, but we are going to be talking about True Detective, which we just finished watching. Despite HBO Go trying its best not to let it happen, it did happen. And it's me, Wes, and I'm here with my lovely wife. You want to introduce yourself?
Hello, it's Amy.
And that's Amy. So we figured we would give this a shot, put our thoughts down. We can look back at this in 20 years and laugh. If YouTube still exists, we can see what we sounded like back then. But we just watched True Detective, the finale, which is called... I can't see it. It was called Fade and Voice or something.
Okay, I did not catch the title. This is getting off to a good start.
So, basically, what'd you think?
I liked it. I did like it. I was a little surprised by how it turned out.
Going into it, what would you have thought that the odds that both main... Oh, and I guess I should say that this will be spoiler heavy for...
Yeah, spoiler heavy.
So if you haven't seen anything, we haven't spoiled
off.
anything yet, but don't listen to this. We'll be talking about the entire series up to and including the finale. So you've been warned. But anyway, going into the episode, what would you have said the odds were that both main characters are alive at the end?
Yeah, I didn't see it coming. And yeah, they pretty much... Yeah, just the scene where Matthew McConaughey rips the dagger out of his gut. I mean, I thought for sure we were going to lose him then, but we didn't. He lived on, and even a hammer to Marty's heart didn't get him down either.
Yeah, it's a 80s love ballad, hammer to Marty's heart. But no, I was surprised that they both were alive at the end. I guess that's a good place as any to start. Going into it, I would have thought it was like a 10% chance that at least one of them, a 10% chance that both were alive. I would have thought is 90% sure that one of them at least is going to die, and I thought it was likely that both of them were going to die.
And the scene, I mean, the long shot with, Rust chasing the spaghetti monster. I mean, they're in a tomb, the whole thing just... Mm-hmm. They're underground. I mean, it feels like they are just like walking into their death.
Marty had said goodbye to his ex-wife in the previous scene, which made it seem like he was expecting something bigger than what actually happened, but it did not. I thought at that point in last week's episode they had like a plan where they were going to. They sort of knew that it was a one-way street, but apparently it wasn't because they really had no idea what was going on at that point.
Right.
When they didn't even torture Steve. They just showed him a videotape that apparently Steve is Steve the drunk, who is the sheriff. I guess he's some sort of sheriff that they used to work with in the boat, the boat guy.
Yep.
But so would you like about the finale episode? We'll stick with the finale first of all before moving into the entire series.
I mean, I always like the relationship between Marty and Rust. I liked the way they played off of each other. I pretty much like any scene when they're together, when they're working together and their banter and whatnot. Let's see, what else did I like about it?
I thought it was tense.
It was tense.
It was a...
Yeah, and I wanted to say I liked the scenery when they're driving to the house and all the dead trees around, and they set the atmosphere really well, I thought, and it had this eerie feeling immediately, and you had this pit in your stomach pretty much the whole episode, even starting with I'm forgetting the spaghetti monster's real name.
Errol.
What is it?
Errol something?
Errol, yeah.
We can get into that, but
his
relation. No, that's fine. But yeah, when they were showing Errol at the very beginning.
Well, yeah, just like that shot I liked the shot of his back.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning. I actually liked the beginning of the episode. It was, remember, I don't know if that's like a archetypal shot of the devil from behind. I don't know if that means anything, but anyway.
Was his father dead? I was under the impression his father was alive, that like where he's talking to him. He looked dead.
Pretty horribly dead when Marty saw it.
But he seemed it was like the guy in Seven was in worse shape than him.
I know, I don't like that, yeah.
I mean, it was
it's upsetting.
So but yeah,
was that his father or his grandfather?
I said it was his father, I think.
Yeah.
I don't. We can talk about that
Yeah.
a little bit. But there's the I liked how tense it was in the episode. I thought the direction was good with your scenery point. It was like the I thought the show was tough to direct just because I don't find the scenery of Louisiana very pretty. It's sort of interesting, I guess, but it's not like you can easily. It's a lot of like flat swamps with like factories sort of in the background, and I didn't think the show was very. It's not like they're shooting in a beautiful location, but it was like the finale was the first time I felt like the location actually meant something towards the story.
Yeah, and
with the dead trees.
Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna make any sense, but it is also a place where a lot can be hidden. You know, that there's a lot of hidden spaces, and even like the pan out when Rust is chasing Errol, and all of a sudden it seems like he's in this like underground like bunker or something with concrete surrounding him. You know, it's just as it pans out, it becomes much more vast. And I feel like they did that a lot in the show, where they'd pan out and they'd show you just the vastness of it, but also these like crevices within it where all these horrible things are happening that remain hidden and remained hidden for so long. So I don't know. I liked that. I thought they kind of showed that with the scenery.
Yeah, I just I think building up to it, it wasn't as photogenic as I think that it as photogenic as Louisiana can get. I thought it was well directed, but it's not a particularly pretty area with a lot of stuff going on.
No, it's not.
The other good thing, I guess I'm sort of torn whether it's did you consider that a good final episode for a show?
I don't think so. I mean, I enjoyed watching it the whole time. I thought maybe if I'm misreading it, but the kind of Russ transformation at the end, I don't know if I loved it. And I don't know if I loved that transition from like his nihilism to, you know, light is winning out at the end. I don't really buy it, I guess. I would have I don't know. I just thought it was just a little too clean.
Yeah, I was I guess it ended okay. I'm a little bit torn that they both weren't dead. So them not being dead sort of changed the way that I was going to see the ending, but I did think it was funny that they both get brutally attacked by some seemingly like superhuman. I don't even understand Errol. We can come back to Errol, but I don't even understand Errol's like. Is he supposed to be superhuman? Is he supposed to be the devil or something? Like,
well, I mean the voiceover. And
but he gets shot. He gets shot like 3 times, and then he still is strong enough to sort of like pull the hammer out of Marty.
I think everyone had a little bit of superhuman in them in that last scene. I don't know if it was limited to Errol.
But it was. Well, anyway, back to just to get at the very ending, since they were both not dead. It was this weird sort of tone thing where they have this superhuman battle with this monster pedophile guy who is like out of control. Like the family has just been slaughtering half of the population of Louisiana apparently. And then they're in the hospital and the other detectives are telling them about all this stuff that's going on. They're having like emotional breakthroughs with their family. And then Marty visits Rust in the end, and he's just like, and Rust is like, I shouldn't be here. He's like, we didn't get them all. And Marty goes, yeah, what are you going to do? Like, that's just how, so apparently, because they obviously didn't round up all the pedophiles, because this was some huge ring that was being like videotaped.
Right.
And then Marty is sipping this comically large cup in a very like comical. Like, why is he sipping that cup like that? There was like, it was trying to be funny.
Well, the tone changed a little bit.
Yeah, it got goofy. But they didn't arrest all the pedophiles. They killed one.
Yeah. Well, I think there was the newscast at the end that, you know, basically said that Tuttle denied any connection to it, which I think...
didn't they say the police figured there was no connection though, right? Did they have a connection? That was the other good thing I couldn't even figure out. Do the Tuttles have a connection to it? They must, right? Because that's why it's bigger.
Well, that's what I think. Unless I missed something huge.
Yeah. the Tuttles were involved somehow in this.
But I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it being unfinished. Like, they didn't have to get all the evil out, but I think that was the...
No, but it was just tonally when, if you were just... Yeah, it was just this very strange jump from they would have this dramatic thing, and then it's like lighthearted, like, oh, there's stars. Like, tell me a story about the stars. And then just them leaving the hospital early against their insurance's wishes or something.
I mean, I like Marty and Russ' relationship. There is a part of my heart that's warmed when I see them walk out with their arms around each other, and they both saved each other's life. I like their friendship. I do. But I don't know if that ending was fitting for the show. Maybe not fitting. Maybe it's just my expectations.
No, I think it was similar to Breaking Bad, in that it was building towards something that did not happen. We won't mention anything about Breaking Bad just in case, but I thought Breaking Bad had the same kind of thing, where it was like it was going towards something, and then it just completely changes at the end into like a different sort of thing, and you're like, oh, I don't know if that was as satisfying as what I expected what was going to happen. It was just very comical. That cup, he was just sipping out of this giant clown cup.
You're not in hospitals enough to understand that those are the cups that are in all hospitals.
I know, it's still, they chose to film it. They chose to do that. Yeah. So anyway, the series as a whole, what'd you think?
Solid. Good show. I liked the show.
7 out of 10?
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this before. I could have done without Matthew McConaughey's philosophical musings that I felt were pretty heavy in the first part of the season. Mm-hmm. But then I felt that the season improved as it went on.
Yeah, I think it got better as it went along. Rust's philosophical stuff was, I feel like it was I guess my general sense is it's probably like a 7 or 8 out of 10, I guess, if I'm being generous. But it was a pretty good detective show that tried to be more than a detective show and ultimately did not add up to anything more than just a detective show. Like, if you eliminated Rust's philosophical garbage, would anything change about the show?
No, I don't think so.
No, but I think that was the show, like, trying to be deep or profound, and it was like, I don't think this needs to be on top of this.
I just think it was excessive. It was an excessive way to develop his character. I don't think he needed to say those things in order for us to get to the depth of Rust. Because I think the show, I think one of the best parts of the show was how dynamic and well-rounded I thought Marty and Russ characters are. I thought they were good characters.
Yeah. I think that.
But I think that. I mean, I don't know enough about the detective genre to really speak about it intelligently, but I thought that it...
No, but I would have been pleased with that as a pure detective show. Like, if I was just like, oh, it's an okay mystery. It wasn't a great mystery. It wasn't like State of Play or those other things that we've watched, like miniseries where it's like really a super satisfying. I think it tried to go in too many directions and just fell a little bit short in a lot of them. And also, I just wanted to say before I got it, I thought that Woody Harrelson outacted McConaughey in the last episode. I know McConaughey gets all the press for this role because it's kind of a weird, goofy role, but I think Woody Harrelson, like, he sort of...
Woody Harrelson
kind of killed it. Well,
I think Woody Harrelson's fantastic in the entire series.
Yeah, he is.
I think I'd agree with you. Well, for me, McConaughey, his character, as much as I like him, it's a little wearing to watch him sometimes, just because it's
too heavy.
It's a little too heavy, and I don't know. With Harrelson, or Marty, I guess. I feel like he's a bit more relatable.
Yeah, I think he's completely relatable. Yeah. And he sort of anchors McConaughey's whacked out performance as this nut job. And I just liked his I liked Harrelson in the house where they breaks into whatever that bizarre shack is that Errol and his half sister who he's having sex with are living, with their father strapped to a bed. Yeah. But it was what was the other thing?
And I also liked how he had the big detective breakthrough in this episode too.
Yeah, which was out of I don't know if it's out of place, but he broke the.
But he's been doing. I feel like that happened. I'm not going to be able to.
He's always been the reliable worker. He sorts through the files, while McConaughey has these sort of like premonition things. Like,
well, McConaughey will put in the legwork too, and he. But I feel like he came. I liked how he had his moment because he's self-described as a mediocre detective.
Yep.
In the beginning episode. But he certainly, I mean, he shows his bravery and his like gusto at many points in the show.
Yeah, no,
I think he's a better detective than he gives himself credit for.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I'd say, I'd probably rank McConaughey ahead of him in that sense. But it's
Well, yeah.
How? Let's see. What else is there? Errol. There was something I wanted to say about it. What was Errol?
Let's talk about Errol.
So is Errol the devil? Is Errol superhuman?
Sure. I mean, why? Because he's burnt and he...
What's his relationship? He's the son of...
Honestly, I'm going to suck at explaining that because, I think this was, my own weakness as a viewer where I had a hard time drawing the lines between all the people we learned about.
Mm-hmm. He was the grandson of a Tuttle or something, or he used to hang out at
something like that.
Yeah, and then he just became a maintenance worker. His family gets some sort of maintenance, and luckily, a man pays his taxes, and deducts $200 for home repair or something.
Yeah.
So that was that's a lucky break for the detectives.
Yeah, the woman's
that
husband.
A Bayou hillbilly correctly fills out his deductions.
Yeah. I know, with quite a classy wife in that old age home. I was not expecting her to be so put
lucid.
together.
Yeah, she was.
And she was like super elegant. I was like, oh, hello. Like, where did?
Well, they tried to balance it out with the how she would just remember how much they paid. Like they're like, oh, she's wacky. She remembers how much they paid. But
right.
she didn't seem to be belonging in that old age home.
She seemed quite intact. And
her hillbilly junkie son living in the house obviously kicked her out and put her in there. Yeah, that was a strange. I expected her to be more like the black woman in the earlier episodes where she was.
Yeah.
And what was all the religious karkura? Is that what it like? That amounted to nothing. Is Errol the Yellow King?
Well, the devil worship.
Who's handing out the Yellow King pamphlets? What is this? Did that ever get explained? Is that supposed to be Errol? Is that what everyone's going to watch? And apparently, no one wants to spill the beans about it.
I guess.
I don't understand how that all tied in. Did Errol leave the body of the girl originally?
The Dora Lang?
Yeah, on the tree. Was she the first one, Dora Lang? The deer antler? The very first.
She was, that was Dora Lang.
Yeah, so...
I don't know. And also
What is the...
Well, I just have a hard time organizing the children being sacrificed and killed and tortured and etc. Then the Dora Lang murder. Was she a sacrifice too?
I think so.
That they were...
It's all connected. I guess they're just killing I thought that was a weak... maybe...
But why was she the one that was on display?
I don't know. That's why the other ones are hidden away. Yeah. That doesn't make any... It's just narrative-wise, I guess. But maybe I need to review it, but I don't really know. I don't understand the killings beyond just this guy is doing it and how it tied in everything else. I thought it would be explained.
I would have liked... No, I agree with you. I would have liked the religious aspect and these churches and these parishes to play a bigger part in the narrative. I would have liked to understand that component.
Yeah, they kind of hinted at it with the drunken, like, revivalist preacher, but then he just sort of went away.
And then he went away, and that whole kind of subset just I feel like was kind of pushed to the periphery, but I think we needed to see more of it.
Yep.
It was just kind of mentioned and talked about and referenced, but yeah, I didn't quite. I had a hard time seeing the connections between people. I mean, I may have missed. I'm sure I missed something, but.
Yeah. So, pantheon of HBO shows. Where would you put it?
Oh.
Above what? Below what?
Oh God.
I think it's sort of at the bottom of a lot of things that I can think about now.
Yeah, it's not really above any of the HBO shows I've seen. I don't think maybe Girls.
Yeah, it's probably above Girls at this point. It's probably above Girls at this point. And I think it would have been a really great like FX show. You know, if it was on FX, I'd been like, wow, that was a really great show. But it's sort of a...
Oh, just because it pales in comparison to its...
To everything, its other HBO brethren, I guess you would want to call it, yeah. But, I mean, is there another... Well, The Wire is sort of a cop... I mean, not... The Wire is sort of a... I was trying to think if there's any other HBO... If there's any other HBO detective shows. I don't think there are, which is kind of weird. You think they would have not nailed that down.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah, you remember State of Fear, right? The British miniseries? Like, I thought that was a better...
I never saw State of Fear.
You did see State of Fear. We watched it together. It was the one with the reporter, the missing girl.
Oh, with the guy who was in the...
Politician.
He was in the parliament?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was as good as that. I mean, that's just sort of a very tight little detective story.
Yeah, that was tighter. I don't know if we can say that was better.
I think as a detective story, it was better.
Okay, as a detective story. Not in terms of its acting or character.
Not in terms of its acting or...
Direction.
Yeah, direction is obviously better for this one, but... No, I was happy with it. It would be at the bottom of my HBO list.
The other thing, too, since this show... And, you know, there's a new cast every season.
Yeah.
I thought they could have taken some more risks in that last
that's the
episode.
Yeah, why? Well, both of them live. I guess it's kind of predictable at this point for the people. Everyone dies. Like, that's kind of the go-to thing when you have a show. But I do feel like it could have ended more ambiguously than it did. So let's end our discussion here with what would you rate? You'd give it a 7 out of 10?
Yeah.
I'd give it
7.5.
I'd give it probably a 7. Maybe it'll change. Things change. I have to sleep on these things for a night. But so, if you don't know, the show is over after this season, and then it gets a new season, which is going to have 2 new actors, or maybe more. I guess it's not limited to 2, but it's going to be a whole new story, basically, like American Horror Story does a new season. Every season is a new story. So, can you think of 2 actors or actresses or actor or actress that you would want to see? I was thinking, people have been saying it online, but I would... something like Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer would probably be the most fascinating detective show if they were like together. Like, Cruise has never done TV.
Oh yeah, he's never done TV.
And Val Kilmer is kind of crazy. TV? And Val Kilmer would be the McConaughey of this thing, where it would probably like his performance would blow away Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise would be this sort of 5'5".
Don't knock Tom Cruise.
What he's just saying though.
His charisma.
Or you could have like if you had a McNulty and Punk on The Wire, they revive their partnership.
And they're just the same characters.
They're the same characters, just in a totally different series in Louisiana, set out to kill people. Just saying, motherfucker, fucker.
Fuck.
That would be the entire... Fuck. Can you think of anybody?
I'm so bad at this. Can I think of anybody?
It's tough. There's a lot of options. How about... let's see, who do we want here? How about, like... think of someone who's on TV currently. Will Arnett. Will Arnett and David Cross. They're basically just playing Arrested
John Hamm.
John Hamm. Yeah, John Hamm.
John Hamm could be a sexy detective.
John Hamm and...
I'm a little John Hammed out.
Yeah. Well, John Hamm, who would you pair him with? You put him with... John Hamm would have to go with someone who's like Bryan Cranston. There you go. You could have an AMC all-star matchup of Bryan Cranston and John Hamm.
You know, I would love to see more, but I miss Bryan Cranston.
Miss Breaking Bad.
I do.
Yeah, I miss Breaking Bad too. But yeah, so I think that's all our thoughts. Maybe we'll reconvene and figure out what we actually think.
Sorry if these thoughts really sucked, everybody.
Your thoughts are pretty terrible. These are the worst. Someone's angrily clicking away saying those are the worst goddamn thoughts I've ever heard. But yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed the show. I'm happy it's only 8 episodes in one season. I don't think it needed it was definitely not good enough where I'd be like, oh, I can't wait for season 2. But I was happy the way it ended. I was happy with the experience. I was happy it was only 8 episodes.
It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah, I'd say it's worth watching. It's so easy to...
There is a lot I think a lot to critique and a lot to talk about. I enjoyed every minute I spent watching that show. I was
read
never bored.
Read Alan Sepinwall's review for an actual TV criticism.
Yeah, for an actually intelligent.
Let's see if he comes up with anything
well thought out.
But
criticism.
I guess we'll turn it off there. So thank you guys for listening, and me and Amy will see you next time.
Yeah. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.